BBC Radio Leicester, 18 minutes past 9 then. Next up, we're talking libraries because as a result of a public consultation this summer, Leicester City Council have announced that they have significantly changed their plans on the future of its libraries. As part of cost-cutting measures, the council had initially planned to put libraries in the hands of community groups, but have now rethought them. The council said that all libraries still likely to see a reduction in staffed opening hours, with 6 becoming self-access. Louisa Wright was one of those that campaigned to keep Knighton Library open and joins me now. Louisa, good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, why is this so important to you? Why are you so passionate about keeping Knighton Library open?
I would say Knighton Library it's such an important part of the community in Clarendon Park and Knighton. I have 2 kids and we go to the library all the time to read and to explore books. The local schools go to the library on trips, and it's just so important to have equitable access for all kids. Like, a lot of kids don't have books at home, so having libraries is such an important part of their education and their just life, really.
Talk to us a little bit more about that, because you think back to your days at school and going to the library and picking out books felt like such a critical part of it. Why is it so important that continues for children?
Well, firstly, I think we all know that reading for pleasure is becoming, it's a real problem. Like, fewer and fewer kids are reading and getting enjoyment out of books. It's so important for their education, for literacy, I think being in a space that has books where kids feel excited to go and read, that is so important. But it's also so important for adults as well to have access to books, the computers. It's not only the books that are in the libraries. They're a service that provides a warm space, that have computers for people to access. There's a sense of community there for people who are lonely. Libraries serve so many different functions, and if we lose that, it's just such a shame for our communities.
So the council, as we mentioned, they've announced a change to the plans. Do you welcome this news?
Yes, definitely. In terms of Knighton, we're really glad that the library will still be run by the council. I think in terms of, it's important to have a bit of perspective on it. Like, the original proposals were totally inappropriate for our community. There is not capacity within this area for volunteers to run, to fundraise and to manage a library. And so that original idea was really widely rejected within Knighton. So yes, we're really glad that the council has decided that they've realised that was not going to work. What the detail we've heard is that Knighton Library will now be staffed for 25 hours a week. At the moment, it's staffed 40 hours a week. So it's going to be cut by almost a half, the opening hours. And that feels, obviously quite gutting for us. And we'll definitely want to continue to engage with the council about whether that can be extended a bit. We've also heard that the library will be open 8 till 8, with access without staff. But a lot of people aren't comfortable going to the library when there aren't staff there, so that's not ideal, really. So sort of cautiously positive, but also want to hear the detail. We want to hear when those hours will be as well. So, will children still be able to access the library after school, for example, and at weekends, or will those 25 hours fall in the mornings when children are at school and they can't go?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was going to say, the council still say they have to save money, and I was going to ask you about sort of what you would want to see happen next. But from what you've said then, is it about clarity of what these plans are? If this is the solution that is almost the compromise, is it about clarity of what exactly that means?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously we understand that the council has to save money. I think libraries represent huge value for money, and so I don't know, as a cost-cutting exercise, I'm not sure it's the right way to go about things, cutting library time, but that's maybe another conversation. Yeah, so definitely we want to hear more about the detail of when those hours will fall. There might be some kind of model where you have staff like librarians. We need librarians, like they are hugely knowledgeable. It's very important to have library staff by librarians, and it's very important that the council is managing and funding libraries, but there might be some kind of mixed model where you have volunteers who are there a bit to support libraries, librarians, and that might extend opening hours, I suppose. So I think I hope that the council aren't just saying like, okay, well we've got 25 hours and that's it. I hope that there can be a dialogue about what that might look like, and basically to make the library open as much as possible within the sort of realms of the council still managing it.
Louisa, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
Okay,
Louisa Wright with us on BBC Radio Leicester. She campaigned to keep Knighton Library open. You can read more on this story on the BBC News website and app.